liberalism is the revolution of the bourgeoisie. It's the sort of upper middle class, right? The people who are capable, competent, who like meritocracy, the people who can accumulate property and want freedom and can actually put freedom to good use. But the problem with that is that leaves the entire class of people who are not necessarily upwardly mobile, but kind of, I don't know how to frame it that's not impolite. But liberalism appeals to people who are high achievers, whereas communism appeals to people who are low achievers or feel bad for the low achievers. And so it's very easy to find class traitors from among the bourgeoisie who are something like, well, what about those guys? But this is the problem with liberalism, and this is the eternal contradiction that it lives under. It's trying to create a world in which these two things are satisfied. And so it'll give as much as it can to equality, but eventually it's got to come to a point where it's like, well, okay, we're not going to abolish property. But where else are you going?
Yeah. And what about equity? Because people like, let's say, Andrew Doyle, or lots of my friends, the anti-woke liberal people, they're still liberal. They're not liberal in the American sense. They're still classical liberal in the English sense, roughly. And they would say, I'm against equity because that's equality of outcome, but I'm for equality of opportunity. Whereas when I look more deeply into it in my own little way, watching some videos, I realize equality itself is the problem. That's what puts you on the right rather than being a liberal, is once you recognize actually there's no such thing as equality, or it's not desirable even. Let's just get rid of that idea. That frees you up, but that puts you on the right. Whereas there seems to be this distinction between equality and equity, but is that a sort of illusory distinction?
I mean, I feel that equity is a rather ill-defined concept in the modern world and is used as a way of slipping by arguments against equality. Because I mean, saying, well, I don't want equality of outcome, I want equality of opportunity. It's very easy to turn equality of opportunity into equality of outcome, because they say, okay, but that would require us to all start at position zero. Because if someone starts with a nice education in a fairly wealthy family, then you can tell that this is not equality of opportunity compared to some kid who grows up in a council estate to a single mother. Right? It's not equality of opportunity. So now you have to reduce that person to the lowest common denominator or raise that other person up. And so you've already arrived at the equality of outcome position in order for the next generation to have equality of opportunity.
Right.
So it's a kind of vicious circle that defeats itself.
Yeah. And that's one thing that does seem to be receding is DEI. That seems to be sort of... Why do you think that's sort of falling apart? Is it just hitting the bottom line of shareholders and so on?
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think it's also being rebranded as Bridge. I'm not sure what it stands for.
Really? Bridge is a new thing, is it?
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what it stands for, but I've seen that it's being rebranded. It's definitely hitting the bottom line. You saw what was it, the BlackRock CEO talking about this the other day. But the problem is they're morally compelled to do this. They're morally compelled to notice that some people are not equal in the access to resources that they have or recognition that they have. And so this means they feel they have to do something about it. They can't just stop because of, as you said, the commitment to equality. And if you abandon the commitment to equality, well, then now you're a right-winger.